Good afternoon and welcome to Clarity. My name's Barbara Gray and we're set to spend at least an hour together. I've got a lovely old is gold set of Clarity stamps that I'd like to shine a light on today because it's 94 days to Christmas. Can you believe it? I know. So since we're celebrating 100 days to Christmas countdown on my blog, barbaragrayblog.com, and this is Mini Makes Monday, we thought we'd combine the two, zhuzh up this lovely set of stamps and show you a few tricks along the way. So come on in, let's give our friends a chance to find us. Gorgeous Grace is in the room with us all the way over in New York, and she will be answering any questions or filtering questions through to me if you have any, Grace. And the sound is good too. There we are. So we'll let some friends join us and then we'll crack on. You can see on the screen here, I've got a lovely, many of you may be familiar with this set of wire stamps. I drew them years ago. And when we were getting ready to do our 100-day countdown for Christmas, of course, we were rifling through all our designs and we came across this, and Jazz and I both agreed that this was worthy of another visit because it had actually been retired. I know the feeling. So brought it out of retirement, zhuzhed it up, changed the sizes. Well, the large ones are the same size as the original set, just in case you're wondering. And then we added some small ones, which is perfect for tags. Mini Makes Monday, remember. So the lovely thing about this set is that you can make cards and tags together now, or you can use the little stamp on the inside or on the envelope. Great. So we'll have a closer look at that at the moment. Grace says, I love these designs. Well, I do too. Thank you very much, Grace. Now, where did I put my tea? Bear with me a second. I always keep it away from the counter because you don't want one of those moments, do you? All right, so come on in and I'll tell you what's on offer today and what we're doing. Paul is on holiday, having a well-deserved break. So I am driving the bus on my own today, and with Grace, and Jim's been helping me set things up. So the first thing I have to tell you is, if you're new to the fold, where do you shop? Well, we've got the number on the screen below me, 01732 868 215, and our Sue is downstairs here. That's our international call center. She's downstairs taking orders all day long. And so if you want to speak to a friendly voice, then that's the solution. The other thing you can do is, of course, go to our website, claritystamp.com, claritycrafts.com takes you to the set. All roads lead to the same place. And when you get to that website, you'll see it says Clarity TV, just like behind me here. And just click on that button. It'll take you right through to Shop the Show. And you can either catch up and watch the show again, if you like. If there's something you're not sure about because I was going too fast, or you want to try it again and you can't remember the process, then that's always the best place to go. And then the other thing that we do is, for your convenience, we also create these simple digital downloads, which you're able to print them off, and you can see at a glance, for example, when we did something, what we did, and what was used. So this is a real easy reference guide for yourselves. And you can see here, I've used the large star from our set. Why does that say just wheels and wings? I'm not sure about that. I think there might be a little bit of an error on the graphics there. So I'm gonna hide that for a minute and ask Jim maybe to take a look at that, just wheels and wings. I think it should say something about stars. So maybe if somebody in the building is aware of this, maybe they could just I'm sure Jim's listening anyway. But that'd be great, because that's a whole other show. Anyway, so I can show you the digi-downloads. That's the first thing I want to do. And if we look here, you can see exactly, I'm going to be teaching you how to do some really neat shading, a little bit Mondrian type. I'll show you some of the artwork that we've got as well that we always look after. And then here's another one that I'm going to show you today. We're going to play with some fusible fiber and film. And I think that'll be really interesting because it's one of those things, it's like the stamps. Often when you know, we're always racing on new, especially when you got caught up in TV land. When we were on Create and Craft, we constantly had to keep coming up with newness. And so we ended up with so much new stuff. And then, you know, some things get left behind, but they're still very, very excellent, like the stamps, like the fusible film and fibers. You know, there was a time where everybody was doing it, and then it seems to have gone off the radar, but I'm bringing it back. So I think if you don't know what it is, then stay tuned. And if you do, then time to get it back out of the cupboard. We've got a really fantastic offer on the fusible. You can see it here on this screen. We've got 6 different colors. And if you go to the website, you'll see that there are 6 different, as a selection there. So you've got the pastel, across the top, you've got pastel pink, pastel green, pastel blue. And then along the bottom, you've got wisteria, white blue, and watermelon. So top tip, right? So these are bumper bags. These are 50-gram packs. And just for your amusement, I'm going to open one of those bags so that you can see just how much is in them, because I don't think that you really get the full appreciation of how much 50 grams, it's like 50 grams of feathers, how much, you know, how much is in a pack? A lot. So the good news is that this is half price. So the fusible fiber, usually one of these bags, let me take one of these, is $15.99, 16 quid, and we've dropped it down to $7.99 plus your club discount, and plus your club discount. So this might be something. Now check this out. This bag is compressed. When you open this up, if I show you how much is involved, this is wisteria. You cannot believe how much is in one pack. And when you see how much you need to do a piece of artwork, it's crazy. Okay. Now it's interesting because on the screen where I'm looking at it now, it looks very blue, and yet when I'm looking at it in real life, it's really beautiful lilac. So interesting that this one is so blue on the screen. Okay, so I just wanted to show you, see, when you compress it, it's crazy how much is in one bag. So we do this for postage purposes. That's why we put it into these tiny bags. But I just wanted to tell you that it's weighed and it's half price. So 50 grams of any of these colors, instead of $15.99, you'll see that it's $7.99. Wisteria is $309.27. So rather than call out all the different, well, I could call out all the different numbers, but it would be just as easy for you to go online and look at the colors. I'll go back to this screen here, and I can just call out the numbers. If you're interested, let me give you the numbers. 30927, that's the wisteria. The white one is 30930. Now, top tip, and I'll show you in a demonstration why. If you're going to get a couple of packs, make sure that white is one of them. I'll show you why in a minute, but not because we've got loads of it. In fact, that's the one we're going to run out of. Ironically, the white and the watermelon are the two that we're going to run out of. So this half price offer, I think, what did we say, Julie? Friday, midnight Friday. And then we're going to switch that off. So there's a half price offer on the fusible fibre. It's reduced from $15.99 to $7.99. And that is for until midnight Monday. And then also on the fusible film, we'll come to that, instead of $5.50 for a pack, instead of $5.50, it's $2.75. So there are those. We'll come back to those in a minute. And there's blue pearl, violet pearl, and gold pearl. We had some fun with that today, I can tell you. Right, back to this. Okay, so the white one, and I will say that number one more because that's the one you want. 30930, half price. Then we've got watermelon, 30931. And just remember how packed these bags are. And across the top, we've got the pastels. So starting with the blue pastel, really lovely, 30929, 30929, pastel green, 30926, and then this beautiful pink, 30928. Okay, so those are the 6 different colors that are still available, and they are half price until what did I say? Midnight Friday. Cool. And now let's have a look at this film. So we've got 3 different packs. Cool. We had some fun trying to. Trust me when I say, even though you look at the gold and you think that must be the blue, and you look at the blue and you think that must be the gold, it's right. Okay. Blue pearl, 30110, violet pearl, 30112, and then gold pearl, 30111. I'll show you what to do with them. See, what's interesting is, right, what you don't know, or maybe you do remember this. This is the fiber before it's shredded. So this is the same material as the fiber, but this hasn't been put through the shredder yet. Oh, I know. So that's the thing, you see. These are fusible fibers. Often in the past, they were called Angelina fibers. You hear it often called Angelina film, Angelina fiber. It's the same thing, fusible fiber, fusible film. It responds to heat. You can put it on, you can cut it and put it on sweatshirts. It's that kind of thing. And I'm going to show you different tricks on how to seal it and how to use it. So there you go. That's just pop that on there like so. I'll put that there just so you see the 6 colors again. At the top, pastel blue, pastel green, pastel pink. Then down the bottom, we've got watermelon, white blue, that's the one you want, and then wisteria, which is absolutely gorgeous. Now let's have a look at these stamps that we dragged out. These are gorgeous too. I like these a lot. And Grace says she's getting fiber flashbacks to being dropped in the demo deep end at Ali Pally. Those were the days. That was when Grace was a little girl. Yeah, I know. Now let's have a look. So I've got some lovely artwork I want to show you. Let's look at the stamps first. So these are the prints. These are the stamps that we're looking at here. I think I may take that away. There we are. Right, now let's check. So we've got these stars in large and small, heart, large and small, tree, large and small. Jazz juiced up the words, season's greetings. Together we can handle anything. Now, even though we're celebrating and we're in 94 days to Christmas today, and do bear in mind, if you look at these, this doesn't have to be Christmas. The stars don't have to be Christmas. You are a star, you know. And even the trees, you know, it's not strictly Christmas, but they're a beautiful set of top quality Clarity stamps, and they are 15.99 for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 stamps. 15.99 for those 8 stamps, and the item code is 12212. Now let's have a look at some artwork. We can take a look at this artwork. Really pretty. See, it lends itself really well to colouring in as well. So let's have a look. This is one by Jilly. Jilly did a really nice tree. These are really cool little tags. Remember, we're celebrating Mini Makes Monday. So there's a lot of things going on here. We've got Mini Makes Monday. We've got 94 Days to Christmas. We've got the 32 years of clarity. Love that. Jilly again. You can see here, she's just spot coloured in, and we'll do a little bit of that in a moment too. Now here's one that I did back in the day. Doodle or what? So this is quite something. When we look, let's go in a bit closer on this, because that's all done with ink, with an ink, you know those, look at, let me just show you that. So that is done using those pens that I use in the shack, these ones here, which are 7 of these excellent Micron pens, 30778. You get 7 different sizes. Ideal, artist quality, work like a charm. And this is how they're waterproof, you see. So that's really cool. That's that heart. That is actually the large heart. Let's go back to the tree here. Love the way this has been done. If my memory serves me well, my friend Kim Reigate always does this type of artwork. She always, I love the way she always makes the faux stitching. It's very nice indeed. I wonder how she's getting on. I must give her a call. Hey, this is a rare occasion. Paul Church, there you go, before he even worked here. I know. So there we go. That's Paul's offering. Did you know he's a great stamper too? Yeah, he is. He's a great paper engineer, all-round crafter, knitter, great parcher. I know, he's wasted on this place. But what would we do without him? Now, here's another one that I did. And you can see here that I've used the stamp. So I used the star, attached it. Well, I didn't actually. This is just drawn. Another one of those little doodle ones. So if you're into Zentangle and doodling, then you may really enjoy these wire hearts, because they do give you sections, you see? When you look at the artwork here, it's really easy, because I drew it like as if it was wrapped around with wire. And then you've got your little sections that so for bite size, it's quite nice, isn't it? Now here's one that I did as well. And that's using the film. Ask me not what colour. I would have put money on the fact that that is blue or violet, wouldn't you? So what I did was I reinvented it, and I took one of our rub-ons. Doesn't that look lovely? I know. Now this is cotton, so I want to show you that as well. I did that. That's years ago. But that's using the fusible film. So I definitely want to show you how that works. So let's pan out a little bit. This is a great one. Now, I bet that's a Lynn Hammond from the good old days. Very Mondrian, very Mondrian. I love this. It's great. And really, think Mini Makes, you've got a whole set of notelets there, haven't you? You know, you could do a set of 6 notelets, 2 trees, 2 stars, 2 hearts. What a perfect gift that would make. This is a lovely one from Elaine Milner using the tree. I love that. Let's see if we can look at that on the other camera, see if we can see that gold emboss. Doesn't that look gorgeous? Bit of tartan always does the job, doesn't it? 3 trees in a row. Happy Christmas. That's Elaine. Now I must get hold of her as well. I wonder how she's doing. And then this one is from Linda Spencer, who's been with us all those years. I know. We're blessed. We are very blessed with our team. So you can see here, she's put them as baubles, but this is gold embossed, you know. And that's the other thing is, of course, because they're transparent, they're wire. Look, doesn't that look amazing? Really cool when they're embossed, doesn't it? Look at that. That's smashing. Yeah, I love that too. So there you go. And I mustn't lose Jilly's little tag. Mini Makes Monday. There's Linda Spencer again. She's used, now I mustn't forget to mention the fact that, of course, these stamps at $15.99 also come with a full set of masks, which is great if you wanted to layer up, or, as Linda's done here, create that lovely light burst in the background. So the masks are, of course, cut to size, absolutely perfect, come with the stamps. And then last but not least, we've got one by Dee, who's also been with us all these years. Love this. And you can see she's used it with a kind of paste. So let's see if I come in a bit closer on that, because it's that texture. It really works brilliantly. Let's come into this camera, see if we can see the texture. There you go. It's like embedded. Isn't that great? Love it. Okay, so that's the artwork on show. The set of stamps that's on offer today is 12212 at $15.99 plus all your club discounts, and that includes all 8 stamps and the masks. Right, I suggest that we get started. So I've got a little card I want to show you. Start simple, we'll ramp it up. So before we start on the film and fibre, because that goes everywhere, let's do a clean and simple, just a clean and simple card. So here we've got one. I'm going to pan out a little bit. Let me just pan out a little bit. Right. So you're wondering what size this is. Well, I'm going to show you my view rulers. So these view rulers are great. They will show you in a nano what we're up against here. So you can see here 5.5. So it's a 5-inch white card blank. And then I've got underneath here, look, I tell you what, I'm going to dismantle all this. This is the one, if you're wondering, it's on the digital download that Jazz kindly put together for me this morning. So if you're interested in this, then all the links and everything that I've used is all here. Right, now let's take a look. We've got a 5x5 white card blank, which we sell, of course. And then what I've got here is some companion paper. So what size companion paper? Well, it's 4.5 by 4.5. So there you go, 5x5, 4.5 by 4.5. So that gives you a really good frame piece, doesn't it? And if we're going to go 4.5 by 4.5, let me show you where all the best reds are. If you're interested, if you go to, just bear with me a second, we've got lovely companion papers, haven't we? And what you'll find is the one with the most reds and greens, funny enough, if you look along the base here, you'll see you've got loads of reds, greens, greens, reds, greens. It's called Rainbow River. So if you're looking for a particularly Christmassy set, then the companion paper Rainbow River has all the reds that you could ever want and all the greens. Like, really nice, look. So if I pan out a little bit more, you'll see immediately, look, we've got burgundies, reds, greens. Okay, so there we go. The item code for that is 31665. Right, so that's that layer. Then the next layer, what have we got now? It's a 4x4-inch piece of card. So you could take, it's just stencil card, 4x4. 3.5 by 3.5 would be a little tight. So let me tell you where I found my 4x4s. Now you may think, Where would you find your 4x4s? I go to the 8.5 by 11 for my 4x4s, because that way I get 4x4s and I also get tag size. Really cool. So I know it sounds a bit weird to go to a large size, but it does work, because then you get, let me show you, you get the little tag sizes too. So when you're getting the large pieces like that, right, you also get these bits down the side. So this is ideal, okay? Right, 8.5 by 11 is the best one, and we've got that. Let me just grab tell you what the number is. Just bear with me a second, because it's all the same really good stuff. Right, here it is. 30361, and it's 8.5 by 11, and it just gives you loads of 4x4s. It's much better than taking a 7x7 and chopping it up, okay? You get a lot more bang for your buck that way. 30361. All righty. Okay, so let's have a look again what we've got, and then we'll get started. So that's your 4x4, that sits on there, and then the offcuts are what I've done to make the little tags, gift tags, like so. So that's what we're going to do now, and I'll just pop my drink over there, and I'll put my view. Like I say, I find these two view rulers, this pair of view rulers, it's starting to get invaluable. Just being able to just see at a glance, oh yeah, it's 5x5, you know, just something that basic. Look, I can tell you how big the tags are. Just go in there like that. It's 2x3. You know what I mean? So basic, but so obvious. Right, and when you're cutting down sizes, usually you'd go 1/2 inch smaller to get inside. So for an ATC, for example, like I say, this one here is 3x2. So an ATC usually is 3.5 by 2.5. You know, we've got the Mini Makes group. Hey, friends, the Mini Makes group on Facebook is Clarity Crafts, Mini Makes and ATCs. That's the name of the Facebook group. Well over 1,000 people now. It must be about 1,100, in fact, now. And we do a really cool ATC, PTC swap, artist trading cards, parchment trading cards. I just did mine for September, a little bit late in the day, but Fiona, it's here, just got to write it, and then off it goes to you. And this time it was called, so what we do is, it's called Pink Travel. That's the Jane Telford and Elizabeth Goldsmith, they decide together what the theme is going to be month for month for our challenge, for our ATC or PTC challenge. They give us a couple of directions, like this month it's been Pink Travel, right? I mean, it's a very broad opportunity. And then we get partnered up. So Elizabeth and Jane, they partner us up. If you like parchment, you go in the PTC group. If you like Inky Stampede, my kind of thing, you go in the ATC group. And then you get partnered up with somebody, and then you send them an ATC or a PTC, and they send you an ATC or a PTC. So I'm teamed up with Fiona this month. So I've done something nice. I mean, I'll show you actually. I know Fiona won't mind. I'm sure she won't, because then she knows what she's going to get if she watches. But I really enjoyed. So I made this yesterday. Okay, I'll show you. I know I digress, but hey ho, my ride, my rules. I'll show you. Look, see. So it's when I say there's a lot of leeway here. So this is alcohol ink on chromo card. See, so it's shiny. And I thought, yeah, there you go, pink and adventurous words. They're Leonie's words. That's the ATC, 2.5, should be 2.5. There you go, looky, 2.5 by 3.5. I know, it's good, isn't it? And if I were to, I could turn it around. And that's my point now. So that 2x3 would sit on there, absolutely perfect for an ATC. There, you see? So there you go. That's going to Fiona when I get it written. I know. It's all about that. It's all about sharing. And I really enjoy every month making something, spending an hour or two, working it out. And I mean, it's a bit loose for travel, but I don't know. I like that. I like that stencil. There you go. I like the treescape stencil. And that's that. Good. And also, I'm into alcohol. I had all the alcohol ink around me because we're doing an alcohol ink online course on the 18th of October. Where's all that stuff? I know you're going to go, well, come on, get your star out, get your wire star out. I will. But I also want to show you the alcohol ink online course that I want you to join, right? So that you too can make things like that. And much more, actually. So this is pretty cool. Okay, so let me show you this. It's an alcohol ink on a gel plate. It's Saturday, the 18th of October, online course with yours faithfully. That's me, c'est moi. 9 to 12, all day this is. 9 to 12 online in the luxury of your own home. Lunch break. You can have whatever you like for lunch. And then we get back together again 2 till 4. So it's a whole day, tutors and moi, okay? And I'm going to show you how to make really nice landscapes and just things like this. You need a couple of tea bags, dried out tea bags. I'm going to show you how to do some really nice alcohol inky tea bag art like that. And if you want to join in, it's 60229. Easy. And the thing about the online workshops is it's not so it's not a Zoom, it's not on Facebook. It's private. And once you sign up, you can join in anytime. You have the keys. You can come in, you can have another little look, you can go again. You could go in a year later. Like I've signed up for a course and I haven't had time yet to do it, but I know that I will be able to. And we wouldn't have it any other way at Clarity either, you know. So you pay the fee and then you could gift that as well. What a beautiful gift for a person. An online workshop. And then we send you the booklet and that's like your map. That's your road map for the online course. So you know what you need. And in the product section, when you go to enroll in the course, there is a list. So you can have a look at what you've already got in the cupboard, what you might still need in order to do the course, you see? And then all that stuff is in one place online. And then you can look at your stash and you can go, yeah, got it. Time to get it out of the cupboard again. You know, I've got all that alcohol ink, don't know what to do with it. Got a jelly plate, don't know what to do with it. Well, let's see what happens when you put alcohol ink on a jelly plate, on a gel press plate, in fact. Yeah, it's really cool. So anyway, that's that. And this is where we're headed. So I've got my view ruler. I know I digress, but I've dissected this card nicely. Right, and then the season's greeting. So here we go. You've got choices. You can stamp straight onto the card if you like, or you can make a little matching, just stick that on there. See, so same here, I can take that and I can stand the tree on it if I choose to. See, what a nice little tag. Punch a hole in there, put a tag through there. Bob's your uncle and Fanny is your aunt. Right, so now I've shown you that. Now let's take a look at how we do this colouring. It's a piece of cake. You know it is. We're going to start. This is all easy, really. You can see why I spent the whole day getting ready yesterday, because I got carried away. You should see how much of the film and fibre. I didn't use much at all, but I spent hours experimenting and trying different things. We will get there. I can't see the chat this today because I'm supposed to be showing you all the different products. Right, Rainbow River, 8x8, single-sided. Right, so that's the companion paper with the most reds and greens in it. Now let's get started. So I've got a 4x4 piece of card. I've got a black archival ink pad. Now we sell black archival ink pads too, just in case you were wondering. There we go. Black archival ink pad. Permanent, that means. Now the reason that I'm highlighting this is because when we use the film, the fusible film and fibre, you need a permanent ink pad. This is a permanent ink pad. It's not water soluble. It won't move. So if you were doing watercolour, this is the ink pad that you would use. Okay. So I've got I've put my star on a 4x4 mega mount. Again, invaluable when we go to do our fibers, because you need a flat surface to put the to put your sandwich, because you start layering up, you'll see. So, but let's go to the archival. Right. So we've got our stamps, we've got that, and then we're just going to stamp our ink, our star into place. Now, top tip, I just feel that it's always worth doing this, just cause, especially if you're working with a new stamp. Okay, you're going to try it on a piece of copy paper first. That way you can see. Top tip, when you're stamping, if you stamp into, press into the middle, then these bits should follow, right? You should get a really good impression. There you are. Lovely stamps. Well, I mean, we are award-winning clarity stamps, even if I say so myself. So we've been going for 32 years. If you're new to the fold, then let me tell you that we make the stamps ourselves. We design them here in the in-house. We make them here in-house. I'm going to stamp that on there like so. So I'm leaving my gap here for my words. Okay. So I'm just stamping up that star, and you'll see that I'm pressing on the center. That's where I'm pressing. But it's a really good quality stamp, so it should work perfectly well. Right, so I've got my image like that, and I'm going to leave this on here because I'll probably use it again in a minute with the fibre. Right, and while we're on it, let's just, while I've got the ink in my hand, let me ink up the tree. And I'm going to put another tree, I'm just going to put it on there as well, only so that when I go to do my doodling, I've got one to practice on, see? Now I'm going to pop that on there like so. So now I'm making my little tag at the same time as I'm making my card. Nice. Right, so I've done that, and then I've got my words. So season's greetings. I'm going to stamp that on there. Now let's see. Again, I'm just going to pop that on there. So I want to just check something. Nice. Now let's see if we just pop that on there like so. Perfect. Right, so I've got my words, and I can, of course, I can make, if it doesn't come out as you'd like it, you just, you know, the old famous put a butterfly on it. So we can do that, can't we? Now let's see. So once we've done that, and I've got I put my scrap to one side, and then I've got my two different artwork pieces that I want to do something with. So let's take a look at this one, because I've used a couple of different things here. I've used Perga colours. These are these pens that we use a lot, and you can see them here. They're on the screen as well, and the number is 70060, and they're £29.99, so they're £1 each. But what's great now is that you can actually get these individually too. So if there's one that you've run out of or lost, you can buy them individually now online, which is that's great, isn't it? So I'm going to go for a red. There are two different reds. I'm going for the lighter red, which is number 7. Now, let's take our, and this is where you can practice, see, one for test and one for best. So you could do that Lynn Hammond. Let's take a look at that Mondrian. See, so she went with the 4 different colours. What I've done is I've gone with one colour, see? And I've turned, see, isn't that interesting? I've turned it so that this long one is pointing down more. It changes it completely. So let's take a look. If you're going to use these pens, these are great because you've got a bullet at one end where you can go in with the larger areas. So say, for example, on here, perhaps you want to color this area in. I mean, this is copy paper. So, right. So I'm just showing you, you can use the thick end for that. And then you can use the thin, really thin line to get in on the really fine bits like that, see? So that's really cool. So once you've decided what colours you want to use, then you just start colouring in. So for this job, I'm a big fan of, I like relaxing. We were talking about it in the shack this morning, and there's a lot to be said for just taking your time and just enjoying the process. Let's come in a little bit closer, and so you can see what I'm doing, and you'll see how quickly this can be done. So I'm just going to go around the outside like that, and then fill in, like so. That's it. And then I'm just going to go around the outside and then fill in. And you don't want to kind of over agitate because I'm using the bullet end. You don't need a real, a great deal of colour. Just get a few colours going. There you go. And when you get to the tight areas, there you go. And the Perga colours, you can see them on the screen here. 70060. I think they're marvellous, really. I mean, they're Pergamano, so clearly they are intended for parchment. But I'm showing you here, they're just beautiful. They're just lovely. They're lovely pens, you know. Let's see, you could do a whole set of, so what we're doing is I'm looking sort of for balance here, and I'm thinking, right, you know, you go around and decide which areas do you fill in. Well, you kind of get balance, don't you? Like there should be a little bit in the middle, I think. That's where I'm feeling it needs. So maybe the middle, see, it's quite small, this bit. So I'm going to go in with my small nib, and it fits, you know, works like a charm. You see, I think I could do with a little bit of red up there. So it's about balance, really. You feel that there's something missing, you know, less is more. You can always add it, but you can't take it away. So, you know, I feel like that there could be red as well. So now I'll move, this is larger. So I can go to there. There you go. Nice. That'll do. So now I've done that. That's the Perga colour sorted. Okay. So nice. Let's see. So the next thing that I used when I was colouring this in was these polychromos. Now we sell a set of 5 polychromos. Let me just bring them up. I've got the wrong glasses on to do that job. Let me just show you though. If I pan out a little bit, these are really marvellous because they've got all the peaches and the creams and the greys and the metallics. I just kind of picked the ones that are missing in the pergoliners and went with these. So let me just see. This is this group here. You can see that there are savings on these, and of course you get your club discount. But I'm going to use a couple of those colours, and I'm going with the creamy colour and a grey. There you go. I'm going to use the cream, the grey, and the Payne's grey. So those are the colours that I'm using to get that really nice antique-y look. So let me show you how to get that depth. It's easy, but you just need to, first of all, we're going to put down a base colour with the creamy colour. Ivory it's called, Elfenbein. There you go, Elfenbein. Na schön. So we're just going to go over the top of the ink with the ivory colour. Don't have to press too hard. Just go in there with those colours. Right. I don't think my black ink is completely dry, but that's all right. It's giving it a nice effect, actually. There you go. So you just, I don't know if the TV is picking up the difference. If I come in a bit closer, maybe you can see the difference between white and this creamy colour. Can you? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, let's check it out. So we're just going to put down a base colour of that creamy colour. It just changes the colour from the white of the card as well, doesn't it? Very simple. Very simple. Nice art doesn't always have to be complicated art, does it? Right, so once you've got that down, you've done that, got a nice kind of basic colour. Good. Then we're going to go in with the grey. Now the grey, I've decided the light is coming from this angle, so all the shadows are going to be on this side, Okay, so let's just get that one started. And you're going to go into kiss the edge of one of the pieces of wire and then just feather it out. I'll show you again. So let's take this one here. I'm going to come down like that, kissing that edge like so. Do you see it? And then I'm going to feather it out like that. So that's how, let's do this one here. So you're going to come down like so, got to concentrate and not go too fast, like that. And then you just feather it out a bit like that. And you can do all these sides. Just kind of, you just decide that the light's coming on this side. So these are the sides that we're going to use. See, and then perhaps underneath here as well. And then just feather it out lightly. There you go. If you wanted to, you could probably, when I keep saying feather it out, I make it sound easy, right? There you go, just feather it out like that. But you could also use a thingamajig. I'll show you. A blending pen, right? And you can go in there and you could feather out with the blending pen too. So that just, even dry blending, you don't need to use oil or anything, although you could use oil on this. The ink would stay in place, and the polychromos would certainly blend beautifully if you put oil down. Right, now let's have a look. So you've got your, you see, you've got your shadow like that, and then you're blending it out a bit. So you can see how easy this is. Right, feather that out a bit. Let's do another one over this side. There, see? Comes together quite easily, quite fast. So I've used cold grey 3 on that. And now I'm going to use Payne's grey, which is like black, but it's not black. And you're going to sharpen this one. That one was quite blunt. Not blunt, but it had a bit of a, I call it a chisel, you know, so it's softer as it's coming around. It's not too sharp. You see, it's just giving you that nice soft line like that. But if I want to go in with the grey, the Payne's grey, I want sharper. And I'm going to tuck in. Let me get my Dame Edna's on for this one. These are superb pencils. Right, see? And then when you dig in, you go back where you were on the, see how it pulls it out really well. So I don't know if this is, see, if you get too carried away and it gets too dark. The other thing is, of course, that your Faber-Castell eraser, I wonder if I've got one handy. I've usually got one near me. There's one. There it is. Always got one somewhere not too far away. See, the pink eraser is great for taking the oil-based polychromos back again. So if you think, oh, I made that too dark, then you can just take it back with the, it's really nice. Or if you go over the edge like there, see, I mean, it doesn't bother me, but if you wanted to lift that off, then the pink eraser pencil will do that. So that's how I've done that. Look, there you go. Got 2 done now. I could do them in different colors. You know, you could make a whole set, couldn't you? Let's come out a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. Now, this one's interesting. So that's just spot coloring a la Mondrian. You know, he's our inspiration on that one. So you know how that works. And just in case you've just joined us, the stamps that we are using are these wire Christmas shapes A5 square stamp mask set. That's 12212. Great price, $15.99 plus your club discounts. And I'm just about to get into it with the half price fusible film and fiber. But before we do that, I want to show you. Let's get into this one here. Right. And I want to show you these pens that I was talking about, the micron pens. So I'm using an 01, okay? And I just want to show you. I could do this, you know, in what order would I do this? Shall I colour it in before, or shall I do the doodling before? Entirely up to you. But let's say, for example, here, I want to do some doodling. Just in case you were wondering, I've taken the small tree, the baby tree, which is about just over 1.5 inches tall. The tree is. There you go, just over 1.5 inches tall. And then what I can do is I can take, just to show you the detail of these pens, so that you get, I'm just doing lines in, just as we did with the colour, but I'm just selecting areas. This is one of the nicest things, I think, about these wire designs, these wire stamps, is the areas have already been, it looks nice just as it comes, but the areas for doodling or for colouring are brilliant, because it's a lot easier when it's already been broken down for you in this arty way. I think so anyway. So you can see I'm just working my way up the tree, but look how the detail is quite excellent on these. Okay. And then if you wanted to add colour, you could do both, can't you? So it's whether you use your perga liners, whether you use greys, whether you use, let's see if I go in now with a bit of red. I could go in with a bit of red. And do I want to go in on top of or around the, let me just show you that you can do both, just in case you were wondering. See, the black does not bleed. It stays exactly where it's supposed to be. You might want to give the pens a little tiny bit of time to dry, but actually my own taste is, I think it looks better. I would do the bits in between in red. I think it looks rather special like that. Yeah, there. So just explaining how you can get really, really up into this, real tight into there, if you choose to. Okay, so let's pan out a little bit, and thus endeth the first demo. So you can see here, it's all here for you. The stamps, the perga colours, they're also on the screen, and these micron pens, invaluable, the polychromos. See, the thing is, once you've got this stash, what I find is you kind of, I always use the same stuff again and again and again. I seldom add to my stash, you know. At the moment, I'm adding a few little bits and pieces because I'm getting into this mixed media. So there's, yeah, if you're not in the stencil club, I think you'll really enjoy, if you are in the stencil club, I think you'll really enjoy the stencil project. That's using something new. Something that's been around for ages, but in a different way with a stencil. That's cool. Yeah, see, I had a good day yesterday. I enjoyed it. Right, so that, my friends, thus endeth demo number 1. And let's have a look. Let's have a sip of coffee, and then let's have a look at demo numbers 2, 3, 4, and 5, because they all kind of come together. So what we're using is these fusible fibers. They're half price. We went through the codes. You know where they are online. So these brilliant 6 colours are, instead of $15.99, they're $7.99 each. And I think you saw just how much is in the pack. So that's excellent, and excellent value for money. Really, very excellent value for money. I don't know who else sells it. It's very arty. It's very arty, but I'm going to show you the absolute basics of how this works and what you're going to need to do the job. And it starts with a travel iron. Let's have a look. You need an iron. I know it's about all it's useful for really nowadays in my house. Iron, okay. You need a black archival ink pad, which is why we flagged it up on the screen. I think it's worth knowing. You need that. You need the, so 5003030, nice juicy black archival ink pad, ideal. Then we've got the mega mount, 4x4 mega mount, because you want it flat. Baking parchment. Baking parchment. That's key. It protects your iron. Okay, so we want some baking parchment, and then we've got the fibre. That's about it, really. Okay, so the first thing I want to show you, just give me a moment while I get my head together. This is where, see, usually I've got Paul, and then I can go and get my stuff together, and Paul tells you all the different prices. But I've got that hat and that hat today. It's fine, but just give me a moment. Talk among yourselves while I tidy this up a little bit, because otherwise it's going to get messy. Okay, so we've done that. We've done the rainbow. Did I tell you about the Rainbow River? It's definitely the one for all the colours. We've done little tags for our Mini Makes Monday. Cool, cool, cool. Right, so the next thing, we need a black archival because we're going to use, all right, cool. Going to use fibre. I've got my stash here. Nice. I'll show you what we're going to do, and then we'll go from there. Now, what did I eventually decide? What was I going for first? Because that was it. I had a bit of a paddy earlier on, and I thought, what am I actually going to do first? And then I thought, I know, I'm just going to teach you how fusible fibre works. Then I'll bring in the film, and I'll show you all the different tricks that I've learned over the years. That's what we're going to do. So the first thing I want to show you is how this stuff behaves. Okay, so let's go to the blue. I'm going to use a little bit of blue. Okay, so we'll use a bit of blue, and I'll show you how we can use it. Put that out of the way for a minute. Let's use a heart. Okay, got the 4x4 again. Remember what we said about where we're going to find it. Let's do the heart first, and I'm going to show you how it behaves. So I'm going to take some of this, and we're going to just put a little bit on the. So you don't need much. That's what I wanted to show you. So I'm going to take my iron. I'm going to switch my iron on down here. Let me just turn this on. Hang on. Oh, Right, switch it on at the mains. And then I'm going to go in on this one, on the fibre, I reckon about medium to hot. If you use an encaustic iron, you know, one of our friend Mike and Shona's irons, then it needs to be hot. On a travel iron, I reckon that medium is good enough. All right, I'll show you. So we're going to, I reckon that will do. We can always add a bit more. So this is the blue one. Let's start with a colour and we'll take it from there. Now, I've got that, I've got that, I've got this. That'll do. And I've got my iron set. That's getting hot. Okie dokie. And I've got my ink. So I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to ink this up. I'm going to, oh yeah, must say this. Clarity stamps, okay, they're photopolymer stamps. Then they have they're top quality. We hand pour them here. They're a different polymer to any other polymer stamps on the market. So that means they have a much higher durometer. They're harder. They're better quality. Okay, so that means that they can take this heat. They can take the heat again and again and again. Because I remember years ago, I showed friends at a, you know, and another polymer company stamp, it just went like chewing gum. Okay, it just melted. So these work with clarity stamps. Okay, that's my disclaimer. This works with clarity stamps. Okay, so I've got everything I need. La la la. Let's get going. So I'm going to ink up my stamp. Okay, ink up my stamp. And then I'm going to, this is black archival. I need it to be permanent. I need it to be permanent. And then I'm going to take my fibre. I'm going to pop it on there. I'm going to protect my iron and I'm going to go straight in like this. Now let's see. And you can see as I do this, you can see it already working. You see how you can see it through the baking parchment. When you can see the ink coming through like that, then you know it's worked. So when I lift that off, see, if I wanted to, I could wrap, if I wanted to make it a bit more, like a bit more there, I could take a bit off here and I could put it over there. So I could take a little bit, I can pull this off here. Let's just take a bit off here, off the edge. Don't need to, and when you cut away the edges, you don't waste anything. So I can pop that back on there. See, and down the road when you do this, if you do this later, when you cut all around the star, for example, or the heart, whichever image you've used, in this case it's the star, I've forgotten which one I used, the bits that you cut off you can put in the back, you see? So once I've done this, and I know it's nice and hot, see I've got a nice image there. When I lift that off, the image is in there. Look at that. It's absolutely gorgeous. So if I take that in there, you can see it's embedded in there like that. And because we didn't do anything to the fibers, it's just perfect. All right, do you see how it works? Like so. So now if I just take all this away, let's go back to here. Now just take this away like so. And I've just used one image and a little bit of blue, the tiniest amount. You saw how much I needed. Now, if I wanted to, I could take I've got choices. See, if I stamp, let's say a heart like that, I could put the two stamps together and stamp them out, the same as we did before, okay? But then I can bond them together. So now, by taking a needle tool, just a simple, I'm just looking for a needle tool, or I could take a pair of scissors if I haven't got a needle tool, right? And I can pull out the image, like I can just pull out the fibers so that they're feathery like that. So this looks fantastic. If you were going to do a dress, say you were doing a stamp and you've got a dress and you want to actually make it look like fabric, then you could make the tassel at the bottom like so, you see. So it's very robust. And then how you would stick this to this would be with red liner tape. You know, the red mill tape, the 3mm tape? That's what I would use to attach that to that. I mean, you don't need that. If you're going to use it like so, you've got all the pieces here. But let's say, for example, do you get what I mean? So I don't need to stamp that into place to pop that on there because you can't see anything underneath it. But if I were to cut this out, right, let me just turn this iron down for a moment. If I were to cut this out, then I would probably I wouldn't cut round all the wires that are going around. So say, for example, let's do this. If I take the one that I've just done, and then when I cut it, I'll cut to the edge like so. See these bits here? I hang on to them. I put them in a bag. Let me put my other glasses on because I don't want to put my head in the frame. Where am I? I need those ones to find those ones, right? God, it's a sad state of affairs, this is. See, so when I cut it's very secure, but what I'm doing is, as I come round here, I'm cutting off the bits that I drew that make it look like that you've wrapped the wire around the star, see? So I'm cutting into, and I'm cutting all these bits off there, you see? But all this can be used again when I'm padding out the stamp, the image the next time. All I need, take your time doing that, see? All I need is the front to be fresh fibre, and then the back can be all this stuff, see? So now that is finished and perfect. So, but at this point then, you see, if I'm going to do that, then I need to take the same stamp because it doesn't shrink or anything. I'll show you. Now I'm going to ink up this stamp again, stamp it onto, I don't know, a piece of 3.5 by 3.5 would be handy. Let me see if I can find a bit of 3.5 by 3.5. That'll do. I don't need a 4 by 4 on this. Let's go 3.5 by 3.5. Ideal. 3.5 by 3.5 for our mini makes. Okay. So I'm going to take this one and I'll stamp that on there. This is where you'll find if you've got little stray fibres, it does affect the stamps. You need to make sure your stamps are always clean when you do this. But what we're doing now is, you see, we're using the outside part of that stamp. Let me come in a bit closer so you can see what I'm talking about. See, so around the outside there, when I pop this one on the inside like so, let me show you. See, what you've got is you've still got that. It's the illusion that it's still wrapping. Do you get it? So that's the first thing I wanted to show you, is that you can either leave the fibers free, right? You can bond images together. So you could put trees together. You can just join them up, literally. Even if you're using the same tree, you just join them up. They will melt as you go along. The fibers will melt into each other, and then it's really tight. You can't, I could sew that onto I could also sew this onto cushions, you know, onto jeans, onto these patches. These are like lovely patches. So then the other thing I wanted to show, so we've done that, and we're hanging on to these bits. We don't need to throw those away. Okay, so we'll hang on to that stuff. Usually what you want is a bag. See, so I've got a big bag at home, and then it just goes in the bag, right? So you don't throw it away. Right, next thing, let's have a look. So we've done that one, we've done that one. Let me get my right glasses on. Now the next thing is, let's go to, let's have a look. I want to show you, yes, this is cool. So if I were to take the white, let me show you the white. Bear with me a second. Now, where did I put that? Right, okay. I'm going to do one with white because there's a reason why. Remember I said you need the white? This is why. This is why you need the white. Show you a trick. This can be done with all of them, but white has a particular useful use. Right, so if I take a bit of the white, let me pan out a little bit. Let's pan out a little bit more. Right, so we've got the white. I think I've got enough here still. If not, I'm going to have to crack open one of those bags. Now, let's see. If I've got the white like that, yeah, that's plenty actually, like so. That'll do for the next job. Actually, I don't need that much. Yeah, that'll do. Right, so I've got my white. And this is blue white. You can see that, I think. You can see the blue in there, can't you? It's really nice. Okay, so I've got that. And here's the thing. When you do this, right, if you go straight onto the stamp with the fibre, then you'll see it's quite fluffy, okay? It's quite textured, it's fibrous. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this. Let me just turn this up a little bit. Don't want it too hot though, not for this job anyway. And what I'm going to do is sandwich all that fibre in there like so you can fluff it up. And I'll tell you another thing while I'm on this, right? If you wanted to go from light to dark, you could put a bit of blue in there and then you could weave it in. Literally, you could take some blue fibre at this end and then so you've got dark at one end and light at the other, especially if you're doing like for dresses, it'd be lovely, right? Just saying. Right, so now I've got that there. Then I'm going to take another piece of the baking parchment. Now, let's see, if I do that, just like that, you can see immediately it's already, can you see how it started to bond? It's really super effective. So straight away, I've already got it's bonded. On the back, where the heat didn't get to it, it's still completely fibrous. But on the front, it's already bonded. Now, if I were to, let's go again. Let's do a stamp this time. I think I'll use the heart. So let me just, this is the thing. See, I'm going to just replace my star on here and I'll get my heart. Okay, let's put the heart in there now. Let's try a different one. So here's the thing. If I put this down that way round so that then all the fibres, it's like that, right? Then that's what we're going to do next. And there's a method in my madness. So I just want to just make sure that that's already, see, it's already, that's it. It's excellent, right? It's already done. So I'm going to cut this one out, see? So I need the black archival ink pad, just as I said. Now, where's that black archival ink pad? I've got a pretty sure it's there. All right, black archival. I think we've got them in stock. We do go through them, don't we? Could you use other coloured inks? Of course, as long as they're archival. Right, so we're going to do this. And then I'm going to take that and turn it over so that that side that was already sealed is there. Then I'm going to take this. Now, I've got a feeling that this may be, I made it quite thick. I made quite a big, see how quickly this heats up. Right, so let's turn it down a little bit. I'll show you a couple of tricks because I did quite a lot on this one. Right, so let's take this off. Let's take one of those embossing tools and let's do a bit of embossing. See, while it's hot, it's malleable. So that means that I can get some 3D going here. Look, see, I can get in there and I can actually emboss. So this is great. I tell you what we've got to do is when we get 'Twas the Night out, because 'Twas the Night stamps, right? There are a few things that I drew that have got like snow roofs and really nice, and moons, right? And this is great for embossing. So I think when we somewhere down in the next 94 days, we will find some time to do 'Twas the Night. And when we do, I'll show you how to do the rooftops, because this really is brilliant for snow on the rooftops. All right, so now you do that, and then when you turn this over, it's just a fabulous. Let me see if I can show you in here. It's deluxe. Let me let the right. So you can see where I've embossed it. You can see how it's gone. You've raised it at the top. This is like a brick now. It's really hard. It's set. It's absolutely perfect. Okay. And the other thing is, and this is why you wanted it to be this not fibrous, not having little tiny filaments everywhere, right? If we do this, this is where it gets good, and why I said you need white, because now I can take a perga color, or not a perga. Yeah, I probably could take a perga color, actually, give it a go. But say you take a perga liner, B pencil, red, right? And so now I can go in here and I can change the colors. So you see, I can turn this into a red heart. I can do the same as I did before. These are the the B pencils. Look, it's so cool. So what I'm doing now is I'm actually changing the color by adding a pencil to the top. Let me look. I tell you what, in the name of R&D, and I should have done this before we got together, but what happens if I use, let's see, you're never going to know unless you find out, unless you try it. Right, let's see what happens if I use, I wonder if this is a bit dark though. Just a minute. Oh no, that'll be all right. Right, let's see if this works. Yes, that's that answered. There you go. So I can go in with the perga colours. Oh, you know what that means then, don't you? See, I'm doing all this, and then I can cut it out if I choose. Cool, this is nice, red and purple. Very nice, in fact. And then, oh yeah, okay. Love, love, love. Look, doesn't that look good? See? And because we sealed the front by just running, looks good, doesn't it? I know, I know, I know. Let me see. Yeah, probably need to let it dry. Let me see. Yeah, definitely need to let it dry, but nice. See, the pencils, nothing, no drying required. A little bit of drying required, but beautiful nonetheless. Okay. So let me just turn this down a little bit because that's hot. Okay. So we've done that. We've done that. Now let me show you. If we do that, where is my, just let me get my bits together. Right. So there's one that I did earlier. Just see, it's the same thing, but this is even thicker. Right. And here's one that I've cut out. So you see, I tested it with a little bit of red just to make sure. And I've cut it out so that I can do exactly the same thing as I did before when I cut out the, like that. So I can take that now and drop that onto there. And I've got my lovely, see how I've got, that's the key. So I can colour it in, and I've still got those little tiny faux wire wraps, which is rather lovely. Or I can take a needle and feather that out, but I would cut it out. I prefer to cut it out personally. So that's that. Now, the next thing I want to do, and then we're done, right? Thank you for staying with me. Okay. The last thing I want to do is show you how the film works. Remember, it's the fiber, but not shredded. The first thing I'm going to say is, first thing you're going to do is turn the oven down, turn the iron down, because it doesn't need to be as hot. Okay, that's the first thing. Now let's have a look. In the meantime, I'm just going to show you those 4 packs while I go and get my, I'll show you my demo. This is me now, just having a quick sort out so you can see the difference as well. I think that's important. Let me just, I need to just clear the decks a moment. Just stay with me a minute. Just look at that while I see what I'm doing here. I've just got a different demo lined up for this one. Right, that's it. That's it, that's it, that's it. Now, where did I need a little bit of that fibre. I've got my, I don't need them. I've got my, now where did I put, bear with me a second. Where did I just put that? I must have put it here. That'll do. There it is. Okay, so that we can see the difference between, right, let's have a look here. So this is the difference between film and fibre. And I think you could see, if I hold it to this camera, let me show you. You can see that one is very, the film is much thinner and it's less fibrous, clearly, right? So I'm going to show you how it works. It has a completely different look. It has a completely different look. But if we just break this down a bit, let's have a look. So I've got a piece of our bow wad papers as a backing paper. And then I've got a little one of our birthday and Christmas stickers. And then I've got a 3.5 by 3.5 that's got a black Sharpie pen around the outside. So the first thing we want to do, let's have a look, is to do this, we need a little bit of film. So I'm going to go with the violets. And let me, just before we start, let's take a look at the three different colours. So we've got blue, violet and gold. And it's really funny. Gilly and I were working on this earlier. And it's like, how can that be blue and how can that be violet? You would think that the gold was blue and the blue was gold. So I wrote G on there for gold. Now tell me you can't see blue there. See the blue? Look. It's funny. Let me show you. If I show you on a piece of white copy paper, you'll be like, oh, that's trippy. Look, I'll show you. So that's the blue. Now, see, now me, I'm seeing gold. And that's the gold. I know. I was like, are you sure you got the right box? And that's the violet. Now, that's pretty funny, okay? Because we were looking at that like, yeah, I think we might have the packets wrong. And then we went like this, gold, look at the difference, right? So then take the blue, I know, this is trippy. And then the violet, it's actually violet. So, so we have to trust that we're doing the right thing. All it is really is it's a selection, but you do get a different look. But Gilly and I had some fun with that this morning. It was like, how does that work then? Okay, so we've got 3 different, half price. That's all you need to know, half price. So instead, until Friday, and then we're going to switch it back because I don't ever want to have to buy these again. So when they're gone, they're gone. Fusible film, you get 3 meters in a pack, which lasts you a long time, but it's something that you actually do want to stock up on. Angelina film, we instead of $5.50, it's $2.75 plus your club discount. Okay, so I'm going to show you how this works, but you can see there's a definite difference. There's a translucency in this one. It's quite delicate. Now, what's important, and I'm going to say it again, is you dial the heat down. You dial the heat down. The fibre can take the heat. The film cannot. You don't need as much heat. Okay, and I'll show you what happens when you do use too much. But let's just take it one step at a time here. So the first thing we want to do is we're going to take our heart. Okay, we're going to use a couple of pieces. We're going to make a sandwich. Okay, it's so fine and thin. Let's just make a sandwich. So I'm going to take that piece and then I'll make the same again. So I'm doubling down on this. Okay, like I say, it goes a little goes a long way. So let's do this. If you do it with nothing inside, if you just go straight on there, it looks almost plastic and it does need something. It needs to grip something. You can put loads of stuff inside this. You can put embossing powder, really cool, gritty embossing powder, sequins. It traps it, right? I'm going to just use more of itself. I'm just going to use some of the fiber and I'm going to go neutral and use the white. So I'm using, this is violet, this one. Believe it or not, I know it looks blue, but actually it's violet. So I'm going to use that. I'll make my sandwich over here. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll put a little bit of this, not much, just a little bit, gives it a bit of something interest. Okay, don't even need a lot, just a little bit. There you go. Like I say, this stuff goes a long way. I'm working on a mixed media project using this, which is really superb. That's why I got carried away yesterday. And I need to perfect it though before I launch that one at you. I need to perfect it. So that's my sandwich. Film, fiber, film, ink, Barbara. So I've got my ink and I need to protect my iron. That's all that's for, baking parchment. So if it's too hot, you'll know. Now, where's that one where's that one? Where's that piece that I did? I thought I'm going to show you what happens if it's too hot. Oh yeah, there it is. Okay. Maybe you're just about to find out what happens when it's too hot. All right, let's have a look. So remember, the ink, it's a fast drying ink. Okay. So we're going to set that there like so. Hold with my finger, get the ink out of the way, and then just run the iron over it. You can see immediately that it's worked. It doesn't take long. Now, what did I say it was? Violet? Yeah, I know. Interesting. I can emboss this as well if I want to. I can emboss this too. It's malleable at this point. Okay. If I want to, maybe I don't. And also, if I decide I don't want to emboss it, I can reheat it like that and it will go back to normal again. Right, so see then now I've lost it. So let's have a look. When I pull this off, let's see what we get. I'll peel that off and you'll notice the stamps are perfect. And now I've got a beautiful, it's stamps you want to be looking at really because they are absolutely fantastic quality. Let's take this. Let's look at that now. And let's just offer that up. Let the camera do its job so you can see just how perfect that is, right? These are absolutely brilliant stamps for this job. Really lovely. And that is what happens, you know. So now you cut it out, you see, and you put it on top. And that's how you get that fantastic effect. You just cut this out just as I did before. This is the fiber, grittier, more textured, right? You colour that in. Film, it's got more of a sheen on it, right? You can see that, can't you? And then the other thing is, oh, and this is what happens if you fire up the heat. I'm going to show you this because if it happens to me, it will happen to you. I rather like that, you know, if you like, you know, that's what happens if the heat's too much. It's interesting, okay? I see an art project in there because so what that's telling me is that around the stamped image, this is Jim and I dissected this, around the stamped image, the stamp takes the heat away from the film. Where there's nothing, it melts. Interesting. I've seen that done with Tyvek in an art installation, quite something. But just wanted to show you, if that happens to you, just dial the heat down. That's the only thing that's happened, and you've lost 4 inches of, yeah. And you'll only do, stick this directly onto the fibre once. If that happens, you know, just let it cool down and then just scrape it off. It will come off once it's cooled down. Okay, so that's that. I'm just showing you the finishing one there. And then, of course, how do you attach that? That's a good question. I'm going to show you one that I did earlier, just because. Oh, there's another little trick I want to show you as well. But let me just show you this one. This is cool as well. So I've done this already. I've prepared this. You can see I stamped. I took cotton thread. Look, I just brought brought some cotton thread in. I wrapped it around. I used double-sided adhesive. As I was wrapping it, I was using low-tack tape to hold it in place. Now I've used a double-sided adhesive sheet to hold all the thread in place, so it looks like it's shooting out of the yeah. So what we want to do now is just take that iron out of the way. Let me just see. I don't think I want to do any more ironing today. So I will flag up one more time though, the stamps. And then what I'm going to do is I've used this 2mm thin tape, and I'm just going to take the red skin off, and then we'll see if we can see it through the film, shall we? So I've done that. So then I'm going to take my, oh, I've got static. So I'm going to make sure that I've got the right, and what I'm doing is I'm just lining up the one at the bottom and the one at the top. Let's just make sure it's in the right place before we stick it down, because down's definitely down, friends. There you go. I know, I love it. So you can see the threads running through, but you can't see the tape. Fantastic. And then once I've got that, I've done a topper, and I've got my double-sided adhesive sheet there, and that's all ready to set on another piece of either bow wad papers. I want to show you that as well, because that's rather interesting. Bow wad papers, or Rainbow River colour, you know, one of the companion papers. I'll show you something. I do need my heat back on. I want to show you something else as well. So this is interesting. If I take a bow wad paper, let me go to one of the original ones, because I rather like this look. You get where I've gone with this, don't you? Right, let me show you this look. If I take one of these bow wad papers, let me pan out a little bit. This was an interesting little meander yesterday. Let me take, for example, a piece of this bow wad paper. Right, now this is from the set, the original set of that doesn't do the hot foiling, funny enough. So let me take a piece of that, right? And I want to show you, it's a brand new piece. So let me take that. And if I need a bit of a mat underneath, I don't want to destroy my table. Bear with me a minute, because I've got there's a mat. I'll use this one. Right, that'll do. Just going to put the mat under there. Right, so I've got that. I've got that. Now, what about if I use this film? Right, I'm going to take another. I've just got one of those. Actually, tell you what I'll do. Just cause. Let's see. I'm going to take a piece of the film. I'm going to pop the film on here like that. And I've got I still need this, don't I? Actually, I don't think I want to use that. I've got a feeling. Let me use a bit of card. See, when I'm at home, I've got the worktop. Let me just do that. That'll do. Right. I just thought we could have that moment where you find out that the black craft mat melts if you apply heat to it. Right. So we've got that. I'm just going to put my heat on, like that. So I'm using a bow wad paper. Bow wad, black on white, white on black. Let me show you. So we've got the bow wad papers here, set 1. So this is really a neat trick. I'm going to show you. It's a bit of a mixed media thing, but let's see how it works. I want to see if I can get this right. If I take, let's see if this is hot enough now. Right. And I'm just going to, again, I'm protecting my iron by, I'm trying to make sure that the table's not melting. That's the only thing I'm worried about here, is my table. Dave will shoot me if I suddenly stick to the table. I think you know what would be great? A brown craft mat. Anyway, this will do for now. Okay, so if I do this, if I peel this off, let's see if this worked. Just bear with me a second and let's see if this worked. Because if I peel this off like that, maybe I need to, it's good, it's good, it's good. Right, this is exactly, okay, so, oh, you mixed media people, can you see how it's lifted? You can see it's, let me come in a bit closer so you can see this. It's lifted the print off here. So, see, this was quite by chance this happened. Look, this piece here, do you see? And it's done it again. I wanted it to happen for you, though. Otherwise, you'll think, oh, well, that was just a freak. It was a coincidence. But it does work. You do need to definitely use a heat-proof mat underneath. I don't know. What would you suggest that we use underneath? But it also works on, let me show you, I don't know if you can see, it's cooled off. It definitely works on book 1 anyway, but you can see here, if I were to use this on top of a project, it gives it a really grungy look. Look, really cool. Like, I'm not saying that I would put this on top of that, it would be a bit redundant, but I'm just saying what a fantastic look, because it's great. It's like a wall of film. And if you made it big enough that you could wrap it around, so it'd be a wraparound, so you could stick it to the back, it would look so excellent, wouldn't it? It's just a different look, something different. So there you go. That was what I wanted to show you before I had my moment and destroyed my worktop here. Okay, so I'm going to just turn the iron off now before we have a moment again. Just bear with me a second. Right, turn it off at the mains, Barbara. Good. So there we are. We've got some great offers today. The film and the fibre are half price. We've got 6 bags. Treat yourself to the white ones because those are the ones that you could colour in. And also, they're lovely for mixing in. So if you wanted to use the wisteria, but then do, like, if you've got a dress that you want to do or a stamp with a dancer, you know, yeah, I tell you what, it works with stencils as well. I'm going to have to show you that, but that's for another day. Half price, instead of fusible fibre, instead of $15.99, it's a mere $7.99 for that huge bag. You know, fill your boots on that one. And then the film, which is superb, instead of $5.50 for a pack, it's $2.75. So $2.75, $3.50, you know, you're looking at £7 and a few, 369, £8.25 if I'm not mistaken for all 3 packs. I mean, that is great, plus club discount. And then if we look at the rest of the things, we've got the wire stamps that we've been putting through their paces, 12212. I think these are brilliant. Certainly for mini makes, they're perfect. That 4x4 mega mount is a must-have if you're going to make that sandwich. It's great for any stamps, really. It's a perfect size. You've got your black archival. We've got to have a black archival. If you're going to, well, if you're going to stamp, you need a black archive. It's my choice of black, and it's waterproof. and it definitely is necessary for the fusible fibers. That's why I'm getting those really sharp, crisp effects. Perga colours, yeah, they're great. We saw how I was able to colour in even the tiniest little areas in those wire stamps. Then we used the Faber-Castell, the set of 12 polychromos to get the drop shadows. Really cool. The Rainbow River companion paper is the one that you're looking for if you're looking for Christmas greens and reds, 31665. That is definitely the one for you. And then we've got the white card blanks. If you're into making your Christmas cards early, then get ahead of the game and treat yourself to a box of them. Then we've got the Bowob papers, 8x8 collage papers. Yeah, just try that trick, that transfer trick with the film. It's really super. And then I think we've got the sentiments as well that I used in the background, which is excellent, and that also works. And then that's the last of it, I think. That's everything. And then, of course, last but not least, back to those beautiful stamps. It's a small investment, but it packs a punch. So I hope that you enjoyed the 1.5 hours. Of course, I went over the edge, and I hope that you learned a few things and that you enjoyed the demonstrations enough to be motivated to give it a go. Okay. Yeah, 94 days and counting. Always be sure to check out barbaragrayblog.com, and we'll be shining a light on loads of different Christmas things from our huge library. The competitions, got poems, lots of other things up our sleeves. And then other than that, let me see, tomorrow at 10 o'clock in the morning, Louise will be here to keep you company on Groovy Tuesday. Tomorrow afternoon, we're taking a break. Wednesday, I shall be up in at Hobby Maker. Mini Makes are us, and I shall be shining a light on us here in our little Mini Mates community. So that'll be nice. And then on Friday, we've got something very special because, of course, September is our birthday month. So I hope you enjoyed that. Have a lovely evening. Grace, thank you so much for joining us all the way from New York. It's always lovely to work with you.